calling?
Okay, my name is David Souter. I'm a consultant in the ICT for development world. I have been for about 10, 15 years, I suppose. I also teach at the London School of Economics and at Strathclyde University. And this particular research is part of the Vodafone Socio-Economic Impact of Mobile series, which is studies that have been coming out over the last 7 or 8 years.
And your topic in this piece of research was on?
Well, my piece of work in this year's report is a focus group study of mobile internet use in Kenya, based around 12 focus groups in 3 urban locations in Nairobi, Nyeri and Kisumu.
So what were the main outcome of this focus group, and what can you tell us about mobile usage and what mobile internet users want?
Well, focus groups obviously only give you indicative suggestions of what's happening within a particular group of people. We were looking here with these particular focus groups at the kind of ordinary part of the population, at people from middle-ranking managers through to shopkeepers, taxi drivers and so forth. So what were they doing with mobile phones and so forth? I think the first key point is the very high level of use of mobile internet, well, the mobile phone in general and the mobile internet amongst these early adopters. What we were seeing was something that I would describe as default pastime use, so that people were taking advantage of flat rate daily charges for mobile internet access in order to use it whenever they had time to spare. So it was filling the spaces in people's lives. And that's quite a distinct model of behaviour. Which I think has a number of important implications for how mobile internet will develop. There's also a sense that the mobile phone is being seen as a multi-purpose handset rather than as a phone per se. That it's a device that does many different things, of which telephony is one. And I think you can see for a lot of these people where social networking was particularly important, actually the social networking is probably at least as significant as the telephony in the use of that handset now.
Any other interesting point you can?
Well, okay, a couple of things perhaps. I think there's quite a strong sense along the way in which some of the people were talking here that we were witnessing the mobile internet moving from an elite or fairly narrow group of people to being a mass market phenomenon in much the same way as the mobile telephone has done over the last 7 or 8 years. And that's something that the mobility of internet is enhancing because it makes internet much more available and immediate. However, it's not necessarily displacing the cyber cafe.
That was an interesting point in your research about the business, how it affects cyber cafe businesses.
Okay. I think what we're saying is that, well, firstly, that the internet market as a whole is expanding, and so as well as people having mobile internet and therefore less need to use the cyber cafe, there are also more people getting to experience with the internet and therefore moving into using cyber cafes. But I think what was particularly evident with these groups was that as well as using the mobile internet for the kind of social networking and casual browsing and so forth, they still made use of cyber cafes for particular purposes. So when they wanted large downloads, when they wanted to watch movies, when they wanted to use the keyboard a lot, when they wanted to do things like comparison shopping, when shopping online but they were comparing products online. Those sorts of things mobile handsets are not well configured for. And so there's a dual use of the internet which those people in these groups were making at present. How that develops, I think, is an interesting question because mobile phones are not the only way in which mobile networks can enable you to access the internet.
Sure, you could think about tablets, but do most of Kenyan people have the buying power to get a tablet? Not yet.
Well, not yet, but there were 1 or 2 comments among these people about how, well, actually the cost of a smartphone wasn't terribly different from the cost of a second-hand laptop. And so, you can see parts of the market moving forward in that way. The other thing that I think I should mention is Facebook. Facebook was very much the most used website and far, far more significant than any other social networking device. But I think what was particularly dramatic about it was the way in which actually people talked about Facebook almost as they talked as if it were the internet. That it's become a very, very important part of the development of mobile internet among these particular people. Certainly the data from other African countries, which you get from Alexa.com or Opera Mini, are also suggesting Facebook's extremely important. So,
as a driver of access, of use of the internet.
So I think the two key drivers we find from these focus groups were Facebook on the one hand and flat rate pricing on the other.
Thank you very much, David Souter, for your contribution. Thank you.
Cheers.